Hey guys, Deplorable Deb. I got to talk about something. You know, I saw this thing today with Nancy Pelosi coming out and calling Connors an icon. First of all, you know what? She needs to go too. That's how I feel. See, this is the part that gets me. I keep saying it. With over 320 million something people, why? Why even these younger Democrats that were in support of Bernie Sanders and that? Why hasn't anybody come out and say, you know what, enough is enough with these people? She wants to call him an icon and he fought so much for women. Oh, so then did that give him the right to do what he does behind closed doors? And you know what's really pissing me off? What's pissing me off is the fact, and people need to understand this, I find him to be a con artist because only a con artist would do what he did. What he did is he paid off, okay, $27,000. Instead of paying it off out of his money to shut her up, he took it out of his budget for the office or whatever department it was, and then hid. In order to get it passed, he didn't even put the truth of what it was for. So I have another issue. I have an issue. Where are the auditors? Okay, where are auditors to audit that? You know how many audits I've done in my background? I don't understand this. I'm not understanding this. And here's another thing. I don't want to hear, like I just heard from Dana Perino on the 5, many of these people, these victims, might not want to be exposed. Because you know how I feel? We, the taxpayers, we deserve to know where that money went and who was paid. It is not up to them. Were those victims told that they're being paid through taxpayers' money? I have a right, the same way you guys have a right. What gave John, whatever his name, Connors, okay, Mr. So-called pervert icon, to go ahead and just take it upon himself to pay this woman off to shut her up? How do we know now? See, this is what gets me. There should be no ethics committee now investigating this. He was caught using that money. $27,000 of a budget was just paid. So how do we know? How do we know, guys, that there wasn't other people that did this? That's the part that's getting me. And the part where Dana Perino said that these victims might not, it's not up to them. I don't give a rat's ass about what they feel. They got their money. Whatever claims. And here's another thing. You know what? Nothing should ever be paid. That's how I feel. Until the truth is told. And you know what? It's sad what happens to many of these men. Unless there is physical evidence, nothing should ever be paid. And Fox was wrong at what Fox did. This is ridiculous. Unless you have physical evidence. And here's another thing. A lot of these cases, it should go to the police. If this is such a crime, now listen to what I'm going to say, ladies. If this is such a crime, okay, then why have you not went to a police? That's what gets me. If sexual harassment or whatever and rape and all of that is supposed to be a crime, then what you should be doing is going and filling out a police report. And you, the person, take them to court. It should not have been. The first thing that should have happened is John Kyers or whatever, there should have been a report against him. The same way with anybody. You just don't go to a lawyer and then to hush it up or not to be put it out. Let me tell you something. If you're innocent, then you shouldn't be embarrassed. That's why I give credit to Roy Moore. Because if people don't understand this, how come with Roy Moore accuses it's not now? It's 40-something years ago. And then you know what gets me today with Al Franken? Oh, it's okay for him to stand there, but you notice something? Did you hear him say him? He was repeating of what people want him to say. And then what does he do? He says he's sorry and then he's going back to work. He needs to resign. The same way now, this Franken, and you know who else needs to resign? Nancy Pelosi. It's time the Democratic people wake up and see who you have. Let me tell you something. First of all, look at their ages. Okay, I've been saying this a long time. Look at these people's ages. Nancy Pelosi, I see it already. She's not remembering shit. Out of all of them, who's 80-something years old might be Dianne Feinstein. But this is ridiculous. Don't people see? Who in their right mind, if they're only being paid $100 and something thousand, is going to keep this up, keep wanting to get reelected if there's not more that's happening here? Do people go in and see Nancy Pelosi's rich, Dianne Feinstein's rich, and I don't want to hear it's from their husband? It just seems that everybody, every freaking one of these politicians, and let me tell you something, something's wrong with the accounting in Congress, because we don't know how much more money. If John Connors can do this and bury $27,000, who knows what other departments? And I'm telling you now, as a taxpayer, I want to know where all that money went and who was paid. And I don't give a shit about the victims. They signed papers. They shouldn't have signed nothing to stay quiet. So I guess staying quiet, taking the money, was more important than what happened to you. See, that I could never understand. As soon as that money's taken, that shows me it's a bunch of bullshit. Because if you are really, really upset of what happened to you, you want to see charges and you want to see that person in court. That's the way it should be. And this is what we get. This is what we get because we have lawyers that do a thing just like Bill O'Reilly. I know Bill O'Reilly is very mad because he allowed Fox to do that for him. He allowed these people to be paid and shut up. So you know how I feel? I wasn't told where my tax dollars were going, so I don't care. If they want to keep these people silent, then we need our money refunded. And that's what should happen. As a taxpayer, also you guys, we have a right to know who was paid. And I don't want to hear this about the victims' rights. Because then those victims need to know we paid them. Why should I pay? Why should my money? That's what's killing me. Why should I pay or you pay for something that John Connors did or Al Franken did or who knows? I believe Joe Biden's on that list. So when Dana Perino turns around today on the 5 and has the nerve to say that the victim shouldn't be exposed, I don't want to hear that crap. Because, oh, it's okay that we were taken advantage of. I still say it. I still say that we don't know if a lot of these are scams. We don't know. How do we know that this wasn't a woman that John Connors is seeing on the side, a mistress? And she decides to make a claim. Just like Al Green. Not Al Green the singer, but what happened with Al Green? Look at the woman in his department that was paid. Supposedly, I heard they're still seeing each other. Oh, that's great. He has a great job working in Congress, excuse me, has medical paid by the taxpayers, right? Not even on Obamacare. This is what gets me. Has a la carte, then has some woman that he was dating. They had some affair, and then she decides to slam it to him, and then she gets paid. Are we dumb or what? That's why, people, you got to keep putting in there. We demand to know. I demand to know what was paid and who was paid. Till I talk to you again.